What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another reaction video. We got the Kansas City Chiefs just made a huge trade. Bro, like, who is letting these niggas keep getting away with this bullshit, bro? Like, I deadass did not think DeAndre Hopkins was getting traded because he said that he did not want to, you know what I'm saying, be traded from the Titans for some reason. He said that. But, bro, this news broke at like 7 in the morning. I was still asleep, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I woke up and I checked my comments, bro, and I see that DeAndre Hopkins was traded to the Chiefs. So I go on Instagram and I see every time I scroll down, I see a new post about DeAndre Hopkins getting traded to the Chiefs. Bro, how are we still allowing this bullshit to happen, bro? How much help does Mahomes need, bro? Like, dead ass. Like, this shit is unfair at this point, gang. Like, they're still not going to the Super Bowl. Let's keep it a buck, bro. You know what I'm saying? But, yo, like, oh my gosh, bro. Let's check this shit out.
Sources say DeAndre Hopkins is in the process of being traded to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is my 4th year covering the NFL for you guys, and in that time span, I don't think I've ever seen so many wide receiver ones getting traded in the middle of the season.
Crazy.
It appears as the best team in the NFL, with the quarterback that has thrown the most interceptions in the NFL this year,
bro,
has officially traded for a superstar wide receiver in a trade that, believe it or not, I actually predicted on X. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop, like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help us make this push to 1 million subscribers. And now that we get all that out of the way, work!
W intro, bro.
Anthony Edwards.
Okay, bro, like, these damn. Okay, let's go.
Sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? About a week ago, Davante Adams and the Las Vegas Raiders would lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Davante Adams,
bro, Adams really lost to the Steelers in back-to-back weeks, bro, for 2 different teams.
To the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That is crazy.
This is hysterical because he went from a team that is currently 2-5 to another team that is currently 2-5. The thing about the Davante Adams trade that I found to be very comical,
he could have been a Raven.
Right before
you know what I'm saying?
Davante Adams was traded to
but
New York
he wanted to go get back with his ex and shit.
Was fired by the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers said this.
It's interesting the amount of
spill my water on me.
I think that I have, which I don't.
It's just so funny. He comes out, he says, I don't have as much power as you think, and then the Jets made a trade that, in my opinion, I didn't think was all that necessary. Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's cool to see Davante Adams reunited with Aaron Rodgers, but on paper, the Jets have a wide receiver core that's just fine. The Jets' offense was just fine. I mean, you have Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, and if you need a wide receiver,
Braylon Allen.
It's how Aaron Rodgers did things in the past. You have Allen Lazard. The only reason the New York Jets made this move is because of the chemistry between Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams, and because Aaron Rodgers was manifesting it for the past year and a half.
I love Davante. I can't wait to play with him again.
I mean, it was clear Davante Adams really wanted to compete, and he was really struggling with not only the quarterbacks that the Raiders had, but also Antonio Pierce for some reason.
Your coach Jed actually likes this post about you getting traded.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know exactly what that was about. Yeah, I haven't spoke to him. Honestly, it's hard to comment on. I just keep my head down and keep doing my thing, and let the chips fall where they may.
So the New York Jets eventually decided to trade for Davante Adams, and the Las Vegas Raiders got some pretty solid compensation in return for him because, well, the Raiders were in a rebuild and the Jets just wanted to figure out a way to establish some chemistry. And the unique part about this is typically you don't see a wide receiver one get traded in the middle of the season, but in the case of Davante Adams, there is familiarity with the New York Jets, and there's also familiarity with Aaron Rodgers. So what the hope is that they will be able to get up to speed and have established full team chemistry and have Davante Adams fully integrated in the Jets offense within the next couple of weeks or so. And in the case of Amari Cooper, the Buffalo Bills were hoping for the same thing. Amari Cooper has had a history of being able to adapt to NFL offenses. He played
pretty decent his Bills debut too, bro. Had a touchdown
for the rest of the season.
And then, like, bro, and I feel like that's gonna make the Bills offense even more dangerous. Cause you see how good Keon Coleman was having his first 100-yard receiving game, bro. Like, the Bills offense might turn up a notch. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Insane considering the fact that he had to learn a brand new offense in the middle of the season. But my point is that you don't typically see moves like this getting made in the middle of the season for this particular reason, unless if you happen to be the Kansas City Chiefs, who have happened to make a
this is complete bullshit, bro.
Wide receiver each and every year.
And like, bro, imagine when Rashee Rice and Hollywood both come back like later in the season, if they do come back later in the season, bro, this wide receiving core is gonna be nasty. And they already got Worthy too. Like they barely even be using Worthy for real. You know what I'm saying? Then Juju, he's been solid, you know what I'm saying, so far on the Chiefs. Like, bro, this shit is just so unfair, bro. It's so unfair.
The Kansas City Chiefs had an agreement with Tyreek Hill to sign him to a contract extension. And then Davante Adams came out, got traded to the Las Vegas Raiders, and completely reset the wide receiver market. Seeing this, Tyreek Hill asked for more money from the Kansas City Chiefs, but the Chiefs just couldn't afford it. So the Chiefs agreed to trade Tyreek Hill.
And they still won the Super Bowl after he left.
Pick, 2 4th-round picks and
Crazy.
a 6th-round pick.
2 of them to be
Hill
exact.
got traded to a state that had no state income tax.
I mean, he already won a ring, so I guess he could care less now. He just want to make money.
And the Chiefs really didn't have a choice but to do this. This was even funnier because Tyreek Hill would spend the next year and a half just throwing shade at the Kansas City Chiefs.
As far as accuracy wise, I'm going with Tua all day. Chiefs Kingdom, when the Miami Dolphins come to Arrowhead Stadium this year, guess what we gonna do? Guess what we gonna do? I hate
Get
to say
clamped.
it, man. I hate to
Get
throw the
clamped.
peace sign against y'all. I
Get
hate
clamped.
to do it. Guess what? I'm gonna be y'all worst enemy.
Got clamped, bro. Both times last season, bro. Both times. And I think they played in London. He got clamped. They played in the playoffs. He got clamped. Like, yo.
I'm gonna be y'all worst enemy.
Like, how the fuck was Tyreek Hill the #1 player in the NFL this year?
Could to
Like,
find
yo.
some sort of replacement for Tyreek Hill. Whether it was signing Juju,
And he been getting clamped up this year, too.
Offseason, bringing in Marquez Valdez-Scantling because he had a reputation of being a fast wide receiver as well. Drafting Sky Moore, who was known for
Yeah, where the fuck is Sky Moore been at, bro? Like,
or trading for
I've barely heard his name this
middle
season.
of the season for a 3rd-round pick because he was compared to Tyreek Hill coming into the NFL draft. And although none of those wide receivers were bona fide hits, Patrick Mahomes didn't really miss a beat. In the 2022 season, he threw for the most passing yards of his career, 41 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. He would win NFL MVP and the Kansas City Chiefs would win a Super Bowl. But that didn't stop the Chiefs from continuing to try to find their replacement for Tyreek Hill. And in the very next offseason, I actually speculated that they could potentially sign DeAndre Hopkins, but they never did, instead opting to draft Rashee Rice in the 2023 NFL draft, letting Juju Smith-Schuster walk in free agency, and establishing a brand new offensive identity. You see, in 2023, the Kansas City Chiefs weren't necessarily depending on Patrick Mahomes to cook anymore. He was still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but he wasn't throwing over 40 touchdowns this season, still threw for over 4,000 passing yards. He had a career high 14 interceptions as well.
And that might be higher this season. I ain't even gonna lie, bro, because it's like he's throwing like a pick or 2 every week.
Completion percentage and 27 touchdowns. But it didn't really matter because once again, Kansas City Chiefs were able to win a Super Bowl. This time, they were more dependent on their defense and establishing the run while placing Patrick Mahomes in a significantly different role, more depending on his abilities as a situational quarterback and depending on him more as an extremely high-end game manager. Bear in mind, when I say high-end game manager, I'm not saying that Patrick Mahomes was a bad QB. I'm saying that Patrick Mahomes didn't necessarily have a dependable wide receiver to throw 50-plus yard passes to anymore. But things completely changed for the Kansas City Chiefs this past year. Once again, they went into the offseason trying to completely remake their wide receiver room. And to be honest, they made some very promising moves in the offseason, signing Marquise Hollywood Brown, trading up with the Buffalo Bills so they could draft Xavier Worthy, which pretty much
I still have not forgiven the Bills for that, bro. Like,
the Chiefs
come
are
on.
looking for that Tyreek Hill replacement, and this is probably the closest they've ever gotten with Xavier Worthy. Not saying that Xavier Worthy is the next coming of Tyreek Hill, but he's certainly a lot better than Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore. But of course, still not even close to the wide receiver that Tyreek Hill was, but at the same time, Tyreek Hill had 593 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns in his rookie season, so for all you know, maybe that's how his career turns out. When Marquise Hollywood Brown said he was going to be out for an extended period of time, the Chiefs signed Juju Smith-Schuster, who was recently released by the New England Patriots. But then 4 games into the season, and Patrick Mahomes would accidentally injure his best wide receiver, nearly tearing Rashee Rice's ACL, which thankfully he didn't, but now Rashee Rice is out for an extended period of time on top of Hollywood Brown, and as as of last week, Juju Smith-Schuster was out with an injury. Now here's where it gets really funny. Tyreek Hill's career has been the exact inverse of Patrick Mahomes' career. What do I mean by that? While the Kansas City Chiefs have experienced tremendous team success, and in the case of Patrick Mahomes, he experienced tremendous individual and team success in the 2022 season, winning the MVP and winning a Super Bowl, Tyreek Hill solely experienced remarkable individual success with the Miami Dolphins, gaining the most receiving yards in his entire career in his first year with the Miami Dolphins with over 1,700 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns before following up that performance with a nearly 1,800-yard receiving season in 2023 with 13 touchdowns that season. But unfortunately, things would come to a screeching halt for Tyreek Hill, and this is where things would get really interesting, because after Tua would go down with a concussion in the earlier part of the season, Tyreek Hill started posting these really cryptic messages on social media that I didn't really pay any attention to. Hill would do some weird stuff like posting his Chiefs highlights onto his Snapchat.
No way, bro.
With the fact
Wait, did he say Snapchat?
Chiefs highlights onto his Snapchat story. And
Ain't no
combined
fucking
with the
way,
fact
bro.
That his starting QB was out and the Miami Dolphins were headed for a losing season, in addition to the fact that Tyreek Hill's contract is close to expiring, has resulted in some speculation that Tyreek Hill was trying to find his way back to the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, from the Chiefs' perspective, they certainly could have executed such a trade. And then the Chiefs have $25 million of cap space for 2025, which would fit Tyreek Hill's guaranteed salary of $27.8 million. But alas, that's not what ended up happening. Tyreek Hill is going to remain a member of the Miami Dolphins. But alas, the Kansas City Chiefs wouldn't end up trading for Tyreek Hill. Our original plan today in terms of content strategy was to bring you guys a huge trade rumor that we found out about yesterday involving the Rams trying to trade Cooper Kupp.
The Rams are willing to take on the
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Even though I don't think my Ravens really need him, I would love to see my Ravens trade for Cooper Kupp. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I would actually love that. Even though like Kupp has been dealing with injuries, bro. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Kupp would fit perfectly with our offense.
You're very well aware that we do cover trade rumors whenever we get them from reputable sources, and I consider Diana Russini to be a very reputable source. But the thing is, I also feel like it's my responsibility to explain the trade rumor and discuss whether or not the trade rumor makes sense. So when I woke up this morning, I planned on dropping the Cooper Kupp trade rumor video on you guys, but then a trade actually happened. My point being that you're gonna get a video on the Cooper Kupp situation later on today. But the reason I'm bringing this up is the top team that I thought would be interested in Cooper Kupp is the Kansas City Chiefs. And believe it or not, they were the top team that were interested in Cooper Kupp. According to Diana Russini, the Kansas City Chiefs and the LA Rams are interested in
every time a wide receiver is on the market, bro, the Steelers are always at the top of that list, and they never go there. Ayuk, Devontae Adams, now Cooper Kupp, bro. Like, Steelers, just stop it at this point. You're not getting another receiver, bro.
Cooper Kupp.
I thought, like, bro, at the beginning of the season, Steelers fans was acting like George Pickens was next coming up like Julio Jones or some shit. Like, yo, Randy Moss.
LA Rams discussed a.
Well, now y'all need a new receiver, huh?
Super Bowl champs needed a trade with the.
Because Pickens ain't no true wide receiver one.
Chunk of the salary, which the Rams were willing to do, but they didn't want to give up high draft picks, and the Rams would have wanted a second-round pick in return for Cooper Kupp. So they decided to pivot to the very next best thing. According to Adam Schefter, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tennessee Titans are working to finalize a trade that would send wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins to Kansas City, league sources tell ESPN, which is something that I really was anticipating happening ever since we found out Davante Adams was going to get traded to the Jets. I tweeted out, announced DeAndre Hopkins getting traded to the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, I think we're on a little bit of a roll here, but the reason I was so confident in this happening is the Chiefs didn't really need to give up much to get DeAndre Hopkins. The trade compensation is DeAndre Hopkins is expected to go from Tennessee to Kansas City for a conditional 4th round pick per sources.
So they trade him for a bag of chips. I mean, he is old and he is injury prone,
so far, yeah, he hasn't had the greatest season for the Tennessee Titans. In 6 games played, he had 173 yards. And
but like, bro, I think the main reason why he hasn't really been good, well, for one, injuries, you know what I'm saying? But for two, I don't even think bro is even motivated to really play football, bro. Like, bro, the Titans only have 1 win. Like, that would be demoralizing for any player. You know what I'm saying? So maybe him going from 1-5 to 6-0 is definitely gonna boost up his confidence and his spirit, bro.
Last year he went over 1,000 yards, but at the same time, this is a wide receiver that's had Will Levis throwing him the football, and Will Levis is on a generational run this season, but it's more for meme-worthy moments as opposed to playing well under center. I know it's kind of tough to go from Will Levis / Mason Rudolph to the quarterback that's leading the NFL in interceptions, but I'm sure DeAndre Hopkins will be just fine. For fans that think DeAndre Hopkins is still washed, just take a look at him going up against Sauce Gardner in press coverage. He's obviously not prime DeAndre Hopkins, but he's also not Tennessee Titans Julio Jones. Especially given the situation that the Chiefs are in, DeAndre Hopkins is in a situation where he is going to go from only getting targeted 21 times throughout the entire season, and I'm personally expecting DeAndre Hopkins to have a Randy Moss Patriots era-like effect on the Kansas City Chiefs. Sharp Football puts it best on X, saying the DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs trade makes a ton of sense from a utility perspective. The Titans didn't have a high wide receiver target rate because Will Levis can't accurately hit one downfield. The Chiefs couldn't have a high wide receiver target rate because they didn't have any wide receivers to target. And that's the truth. They've been battered and bruised throughout the entire season. Ever since Travis Kelce started dating Taylor Swift, it's like he had the talent sucked out of him. I'm just kidding. But
literally, bro. Literally, she probably sucked the talent right out of this nigga, bro. Usually, you know what I'm saying, when you get some sloppy toppy from a nobody before the game, you know what I'm saying, you ball out. But bro, it's the complete opposite from Taylor Swift, bro.
Get it done.
Dead ass.
What it does kind of mean is that the Tennessee Titans don't really think Will Levis is their quarterback of the future, and they're just trying to get any assets at all whatsoever for the players that they currently have. Tyreek Hill is still being cryptic as ever, tweeting, and I honestly think the memes in regard to this are hysterical.
That was today.
Tyreek Hill looking at Patrick Mahomes and DeAndre Hopkins having a good
time.
Like
the trade deadline is gonna be interesting, bro.
Definitely have a brutal season.
It is gonna be interesting.
At the end of the day, I give both sides an A+ for this. In the Titans situation, I think it'd be wasteful to hold on to D-Hop and not get something in return moving forward. It's not like you're contending for a Super Bowl this year, let's be honest. From the Kansas City Chiefs perspective, I think this could be as impactful as trading for Cooper Kupp. I'm not saying one wide receiver is better than the other, but DeAndre
Let's be for real. Cooper Kupp is better than DeAndre Hopkins right now, but prime D-Hop, I don't know.
Give up a 4th-round pick to get
I don't know. Prime D-Hop was different.
A 2nd-round pick for
as of right now, Cooper Kupp is better than D-Hop.
We're gonna bring you guys the Cooper Kupp video later on today, but as a fan of
okay,
football,
we definitely gonna check that out, bro.
I'm excited to see the return of 2021 Patrick Mahomes because DeAndre Hopkins is easily the best wide receiver Mahomes has had since Tyreek Hill. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.
Hey man, I want to know what you guys think about this, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my gosh, like the Chiefs can't keep getting away with bullshit like this every single season, bro. Like after Xavier Worthy draft pick, bro, we were like, oh my gosh, they didn't find another Tyreek Hill. Like now Worthy hasn't looked, you know what I'm saying, that good this season because I don't think they've really been utilizing him like that, or he's just been getting clamped up. You know what I'm saying? But this trade right here, bro, I ain't gonna lie, D-Hop might go back into his prime, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Now that he's playing for a good team, but who knows? But I want to know what you guys think about this. You know what I'm saying? Y'all let me know down in the comments below, and y'all let me know what other NFL videos y'all want me to react to. Without further ado, I'm out. Gang!